Like, do you really think that most people who know about your existence, like, are in support of you as opposed to not? Do you really
Yeah, I
think
mean, I
that?
would say we have, I mean, we have 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and like, like I actually think the hate is a vocal minority, and I think it's because if you really think about it.
When everything you do has like an underlying ulterior motive of engagement farming, it does call into question like your credibility on everything, which is why people might feel hesitant even if to support you, even if they agree with the message. It's like why Tom Macdonald, if you know who that is widely
Of course.
considered a joke even by a lot of conservatives because
Totally.
he uses everything and anything as a stepping stone for his own success.
This we got something in common. I feel like
What do we
with
have in common?
we both wear eyeliner. We both look similar. We're
Both
both
gay.
I don't know. Yeah, we're both musicians. It's as well.
So just a couple hours ago, I talked with TX2, the long-awaited conversation. I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the way it went, even though it still resulted in pretty huge, like, kind of disagreements and places of divergence with both of us. But as you could tell, it's pretty long as well. So there's chapters down below if you want to skip throughout to see a specific, like, topic or thing that we talked about. I'm going to be putting chapters there. But yeah, all right, enjoy. All right, so, okay. We're here with TX2. We're here with TX2. Big conversation happening. Obviously, I guess to say something at the start, I've talked about you before on like my channel and stuff, voicing some things that I, really disagree with, and you reached out in the comment section, and then Instagram DMs to have a conversation. So I guess first, do you want to explain like your motive for reaching out in the first place before we start and stuff?
Totally. Yeah, I saw a video that was sent to me, and I just like felt like we had a lot of similarities. I just was like, and it seemed like you were agreeing with a lot of my points. I was like, okay, and then there's like some things I was like, oh, it makes sense that you'd think that, but I would love to have a conversation about it, and especially since we agree on a lot of things. And I genuinely like I was saying before this, like I believe in what I stand for, but it sounds like if we believe in the same thing, then there's like things I could learn from a conversation with you, and which I'd always be open to learn. Because like at the end of the day, the most important thing to me is like what I do and my message, and then so I'm just like trying to learn, if that makes sense, and
Sounds
have a
good.
conversation.
I do agree with that. I think we, on like most things on paper, like I think we agree about a lot of things and a lot of things like you stand for. It really is like all about going about it. I think that's where like a huge divergence happens of like the way you go about something.
Totally.
So, I just have like rough like bullet points or outlines to talk about, but I assume like the conversation will go like its own way to start off with. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I like the idea of having a human, normal conversation because a lot of people, I don't want like my videos to be like a space for people that go crazy, overly like demonize someone because that's like one of the biggest things I hate about the internet is that like people could take things, wait, like I'll say something and people take it like way too far to like a like an unhinged level. And I really don't want that. So I think there's like some value in having like a normal conversation about it because even if I have like big disagreements, like you're still just like you're a guy, you're human, you know what I mean? So
Totally.
it's better for like rational disagreements. But all right, I guess to start it off to get it somewhere. So to get like a gauge on things, I wanted to ask you if someone asked you what is the reason why TX2 gets like so much hate? Like why do so many people dislike TX2? What would be the reasons you would say why?
I feel like there's so many reasons, so it's really hard. And then there's like different types of people who hate different types of things. So for starters, there's obviously like the content and the way things are promoted. Some people think that it's cringe. Some people think that things are performative as well. That's another argument. And then there's also like there's so many different things. Then there's that, and then there's like people who are like, this isn't you. But there are some people who are really upset about the message. Like I have a lot of specifically on Facebook. That's like where a different level of hate exists from like older conservative men, which is like another facet of the hate. And then there's another facet. I don't know if facet's the right word, but there's another like type of hate that comes from people who are like within the alternative scene, who are like, in my opinion, they've seen something in the comment section and then they kind of run with it without like doing some critical thinking. For example, people who bring up the fetishization of goth people, or people who like say stealing songs. Um, and then another facet of this is, I don't know if that's the right word, but another
Good.
type of hate is like I think there's a lot of like people who yeah, I guess those are like the big ones. I am trying to think of anything else because then there's like all sorts of people who think that I'm like make bad music and that's so fair and like burger core, all of the other things that you could like go down that route. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
There's
You
like a
get it from all angles. I totally get the, the
yeah,
Facebook conservative crowd,
there's like
alternative
a bunch of
scene.
different right. There's like a bunch of different types and ways to hate TX2 and things to hate. You know?
Yeah, and
So
so I guess I want to say, what part of the out of everything you named or could think of, like which ones do you think are like fair to say about you versus ones that are like completely just like not true?
bad music, anyone could say like some people don't like music and that's so fair. I don't care if you don't like the music. I think like that one is so fair to think it's bad, even to call it whatever type of music. Where when you talk about music in a subjective way, anyone could have any opinion about that, and I don't really care. I think it's fair, and it's stupid to argue like my music is the best. And then anyways, so then there's that. So things that I think other than that, I would like the reason I wanted to talk with you is because I want to hear like in a conversation way, because I feel like with a video it's like someone could say something but you can't like actually have a conversation about it. So like the other things I think are like debatable and there's like a conversation to be had. And I think there's like I'm not perfect. I think there's things that I've done like when it comes to like marketing and videos, like I've done things in a way where I'm like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," or I like learned something in hindsight. But it's cuz I create daily content that it's like when you're forced to make videos every day, then it's like you're gonna make some videos that are like, oh fuck, that's not worded the way I wanted to word it.
Okay,
You know, so
I'm
there's like,
interested in that. Yeah, I want to know. Yeah, that goes to like the next kind of rough question that I want to know about is like you talk about like daily content, having to like, get out a bunch of stuff. So, before getting into specifics, just to, get your overall thoughts on this, I want to know what is like the mindset about the way you go about promoting your music? Like, how do you view it? What's like your like strategy? Because I've heard you explain before when like people talk about the things that you do post purposeful rage bait for attention because I think the quote is like you said, no one would care about another emo artist coming up on the scene unless you did that, unless you posted rage bait to get people mad.
Do you want to know why I am so cringe? Or why people call me cringe? It's because I had to be. None of you would have listened or cared about another emo rock artist unless they were cringe. Which means I had to kill my ego and stop trying to be cool and make videos that I knew would piss off all the goth gatekeepers and make videos go viral.
So I want to know, like, how would you explain your mindset with the way that you like promote your stuff?
see, that's in a good example of something that I said. Like, I don't remember how long ago in the interview that I said that, but it's like now I kind of disagree with that. I feel like I'm always constantly changing and like trying to evolve. So that is something I personally just, and you'll find a lot of the things that I've said, it depending on how long ago I said it, especially when you go like 2 years plus or even a year, it's like, ah, fuck, I'm always learning and like disagreeing. So I purposely there's like an era where I was like saying this is the hardest rock song of all time, knowing that it wasn't the hardest rock song of all time. And I'm like, if you're upset about me saying this is the hardest rock song of all time, that's kind of stupid. And I think you like made a video where you mentioned like the stupid bait thing, and that's specifically what I was referring to in rage bait. And then the other thing is like, what is cringe? To me, to be cringe is to be free. Like if I'm, as long as you're specifically talking about being cringe, just specifically being cringe, like not harming anyone. And there's a lot of other arguments of like
Yeah.
things that are cringe, but also I'm just specifically talking about people make fun of you because you're weird and cringe. Like fuck it. I don't really care if people make fun of me for that. And that is rage bait in some way. Like for example, I'm very queer, bisexual leaning, and I like sometimes love how I look when I dress femininely, and it like makes me feel confident in myself. And I realize that the more confident I am in my outfit, the more upset some people can be by that. And so sometimes like I'm like, ooh, if I wear this outfit, I know that'll upset people. So if that counts as rage bait, but it's like me being myself, but I'm like fuck whatever the results are of that. Anyways, this type of rage bait, I justify. But I think now my goal isn't rage bait. My goal is to like make have my message be heard and create art that supports that, and then equally create content that allows me to keep doing this for a living. Does that make sense?
Okay, I am a little confused. So you're saying like before you did do rage bait, but
Yeah.
nowadays you kind of don't do rage bait. And I guess I'm kind of confused because the way that I view, most recently was like viewing your stuff. It seems like nothing has changed and it's still like obviously rage bait and we can get to specifics, but just to get like your answer that you don't do rage bait anymore.
I mean, it could be. like if it makes you mad, but it
No,
wasn't
no.
like
Oh,
my
sorry. I'm talking about your motive, like your motive or your
yeah,
personal intention. Is that
my motive is like now if it pisses people off, okay, like that's good in its own way, but it's not like I'm trying to piss people off. And it like I think now what I'm doing because of everything I've done in the past is also pissing people off, but it's like I just can't worry about that. And it's not like I'm trying to, if that makes sense. It's not like I'm over here like thinking like I really want to just make people mad because then at the end of the day if all I'm doing is making people mad, that's not like an artist's career. That's not what I want to be. Is the, just the guy who makes people mad. Does that make sense?
okay? Yeah, because and to talk about what I talked about earlier is when I asked you like to get a gauge on why people don't like you. The reason why I would like if someone would ask me like why is like TX2 so like hated or disliked by people, like the first thing I would think of and say is that well they do it on purpose. Like that's like the stated goal is to literally do things to purposely get people to dislike them because it gets their name out there, they get attention. So that's like the reason. So it kind of doesn't make, so that's why I would be kind of confused about like when you would talk. I've seen clips of you at like live shows talking about like haters or like lash out at haters and stuff. Is that like you seem, I guess, confused or don't understand sometimes about how so many people dislike you or that you have this negative perception around you when I'm just thought like, isn't that your goal? Like, wasn't that literally your goal in the first place to get people like angry?
Kind of. I mean, like, I'm glad you see this as a human thing, and you mentioned that earlier because I am human, and I'm like, I'm constantly changing, and my goal is to always have an open mind and be like, okay, some things I did might not have been as effective in the past, or like what I wanted to, it didn't come across the way I wanted it to. Like, the fact that you think that is like part of the problem, which I'm glad we're having this conversation because that's not my goal. My goal, like, it's tough. Have you ever been on one of our? It's and it makes sense that you probably haven't. Have you ever been on one of our live streams?
Um, I think I've seen yeah, I think I was on it like a year ago when I think it was I viewed one of I wanted to see what they were and I viewed one of the VODs and it was just like you like shouting out or talking with your fans like a Q&A type thing.
Totally. Yeah, that's like a section of the live streams I always do. And every single day for the last 4 years, I've done a live stream every day. And in my live streams, I always try to talk about the message of TX2. And like this is, I'm just gonna give this to you so you understand what my objective is, and then we could talk about like the things that I've done that might not have made that objective blurry. But my whole goal is like I just want a purpose and a reason to be here. And for me, it's this idea of a movement that I can build and being an artist and building a platform with that where I can like build out this movement. And the movement is called the X movement. In order to be part of it, we have three rules. The first rule is you promise to stay alive. My thought is if I'm creating an alternative scene, and I talk about this every day in the live stream, and the problem is if I make content for this specifically, it won't get any views. It's not like a viral kind of concept me talking about it, but my goal is if I go viral, build an audience, then I can filter people back into this movement. Anyways, the three rules, the first is that you promise to stay alive because I'm like if I can keep telling people every day life is worth living, there's this whole narrative about like glorifying self-harm and things like that. That's something I've struggled with in the past, but I've written songs about it because I'm talking about it. That's a whole nother hole we can go down. Before we go down that, if you want to be an X, you promise to stay alive. So that's what I do with my fans. I'm making every fan promise to stay alive. Rule two is to stay safe. I hate that the emo scene's gotten a creepy reputation, and the only way we get rid of that, fuck these balloons, I'm so sorry, is to talk about it. Which is that minors and adults should never have private relationships. And if I keep every day going live and telling all of my emo like kid, younger audience too, that if you're under 18, if an adult is ever privately messaging you trying to form a private relationship with you, that's strange, right? That's a rule. Let's talk about that so that we can spread awareness. And then rule three is they will not erase us, the slogan of this movement. Because I just feel like there's a lot of bullies in the alternative scene. And I'm like, if we create a group of people that like stick up against bullies, then at least you have like a community and movement. Anyways, my whole goal is to build out that movement. And like that's what I want to do. And then like my goal is to like get as big as I can so that I can spread awareness of this movement, use my platform. And like I grew up with like Black Flag, The Clash, all these like punk rock bands where I was like, how do I do that for this generation? I try to use my voice, my platform, and like it's like that's my goal. But how do I get there is the hard part. And then sorry, this is just like tell me if I'm talking too much or like a wormhole.
No, you're good. You're good.
Um, um, but then the hard part about that is like coming from a family where I was basically disowned for like talking about like my beliefs and specifically sexuality and things like that. It's like I've had no backing, so I had to like figure out, and I've been playing in bands for like and then you mentioned like oh you realize that there was that moment I talked about in an interview, it doesn't matter how talented you are. And I think that's the truth, because I feel like there's too many talented musicians out there. And then with social media, everyone's posting. It's like, how do you be the best social media performer or whatever? So I'm like constantly posting things while thinking from a social media mindset, how will this work and perform? And then equally, is this what I stand for, what I believe in, or do I even find it funny? Because sometimes I like to make comedic skits. So like, and then just, is it what it's like all of these things. How do I promote my message and movement, and then use my platform to get there, and just, it's
Okay.
like my purpose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, roughly. I do want to get into specifics to talk about it. So, I mean, the latest thing, for which is the reason why, I even wanted to talk about this again, in like, it's over like a year or whatever, is that, talking about the song you made on like the Epstein files. So it's like,
Yes.
this is the super confusing thing for me when you talk about not making, rage bait anymore, not doing things to get people mad or angry. So like, I'm super confused about this because, of course you put out the song about the Epstein files. Most of your music that you release comes out with like a marketing campaign, that includes like dozens of shorts or whatever to promote it and whatever. And I guess the issue that me and a lot of other people have like had with this is that on one hand, you're promoting this as like a serious protest song for like people to play while protesting, but
Yeah.
simultaneously making, at least in my opinion, purposeful rage bait opinions about it that will just get mostly people just to cringe and laugh at it as opposed to taking it seriously.
Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton. We see your names on the list. It's all of your friends that are hiding in the redacted list. We're fucking coming for you.
Oh man. So there seems to be like a conflict of something here, and the only thing that it mainly comes across to me is that you're just doing it you're using it as a stepping stone just for your own views, success, and streams on your own music. And that's what makes it's like the ulterior motive that makes it come across as so inauthentic. And it's like what people, it's, BB No Money. It's why people say what they say about BB No Money, because everything he tweets out, it always feels like there's this underlying motive of engagement farming, which is why he's even saying the things he's saying in the first place. So even when he says something like correct that, you would agree with on paper, people are hesitant to fully support him because they're just thinking it's just another like marketing tactic. It's another engagement farming tactic. So
Totally.
Yeah. So talk to
Yeah,
me about
sure.
this Epstein files thing.
Yeah, sure. So when the video, I remember you pulled up, and then you were talking about how it was created, right? And I are you a fan of Rage Against the Machine?
Yeah.
I watched a lot of like Rage Against the Machine videos. I think Tom Morello actually uploaded a video today where he basically did something very similar. He's like on a stage, he's talking about fascism. And then I'm like, okay, so I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to, like, at a show, start talking out, and then specifically naming people. Okay, so the problem with the Epstein list too is that the perpetrators' names obviously have been redacted. You know this, and it frustrates me that we are not protecting victim names, and there's been some that have been released which should never happen, but there's perpetrator names that are still being protected, which leads me to believe, and based off all of the evidence I've seen, that people like Elon Musk, we know he was trying to go to the island. So are you cool with getting into this, by the way, before I dive into it?
Well, the thing is like, I think we agree on the Epstein files. Like, I think you're against the Epstein files, and I think you actually believe in that. But it's just about the way you go about it that makes it seem like a mockery. Like it's like a complete joke, only to be used as a stepping stone to get more streams for your music. Grandma says, release the files. Angie emoji. And it's just his song. That's the whole video. Get this song, link in my bio. This is just a joke. Like, this is just bullshit to him. This is just clocking in his shift Monday in his cubicle. Oh, what's the video we can make today to hopefully get some more attention for my music? Oh, the Epstein files is pretty trendy right now. Let's take advantage of these stories. Let's take advantage of these real stories from these women and use it as a strategy to get more streams on my music.
Yeah, so I totally understand. The hardest part about this is you're saying this, which is why I wanted to have the conversation with you. And I mean, I guess, how would you, in my shoes, change this so I can learn as well to be actually spread? Because like the video you mentioned got 11 million views. And I'm glad it got 11 million views, and I worded it the way I did, because now 11 million people are thinking about the fact that it's been months since the DOJ promised the release of the Epstein files, and we're still having a redacted list with all these perpetrator names. I'm like, 11 million people saw that, and I think it's because of the way it was wording. And then the specific wording that I did, and when you pointed out that video, was like, I will name Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton. We see all of your names on the list, right? I just listed people's names. We see your names on the list. We're coming for you. And then what you might be saying is like, well, why promote your song? I guess it's because like,
well, it's like a meme
time,
for engagement. It's like, it comes across as like a meme, and that's why like it you know, as somebody sends and like people are just like cringing at it. So if that's actually not your intention, like,
yeah, not
which
not
I
my,
do find a little hard to believe, because like,
sure,
you know, there's other shorts that, you know, I could bring up if you want to take a look at them, where it's like, you know, 5 ways to stand up to pedos, and it's like, number 1, stream our song, number 1, pre-save my song, and it's like, okay, this seems a little disingenuous. Like, really?
Ways to stand up to pedophiles.
Number 1, use your voice. Say something like this. Like, it really is just parody levels at this point. Number 2, repost this and amplify the message. Number 5, blast this at protests. The Resistance by TX2.
What was number 1 on that list of the 5?
Number 1, like, I think it was use your
yeah,
voice like
list.
this. I think that was the specific thing, and then you started singing your song.
Right, and talking about it, right? You basically a video that made people start a conversation, talk about it, right? And then what was number 2?
I could go back to the specifics.
Yeah, you should, because you're saying pre-save the song and like things that are like directly about the song, but I think it was number 5 was the only one that was like using this song at protest.
I mean, but it's a promotional video. Like, I hope you're being honest here, because it's like, I mean, come on, you know, you literally made that because of the promotion aspect. Like, that's what I would love for you to do, and that's what I talked about in the video, is that I wish everything didn't have an underlying motive of engagement farming, because then it would come across as so much more authentic, and that's why people are hesitant to support the things that you're doing, even when you say something that on paper that people agree with. Like, of course, no one's for the Epstein files, no, like, normal, rational person, especially someone on the left. But they're hesitant to support the things you're doing because it just comes across as you're using it as a vessel to get more attention.
Totally. So the problem I have is like, how do I do this better then? Because I'm like, I love Rage Against the Machine. I love The Clash. I love Green Day. I love that they use their platform. And I've been trying in my own way to like, you know, learn from them and do similar things. It's like, what should I do better, or like how, like, besides, so like, is the question just removing the song? Like, well, then if you remove the song, then how do you become a band talking about this? Do you know what I'm saying? So like, how do you do it better?
So it's a combination of things, and I think one thing is also like the extreme on the nose lyrics and promotion that you use to do it. And, you know, I just checked it out real quick too. The number 2 for that video was repost this and amplify the message. So right. I'm not sure. Like, I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but I mean, that's literally just farming your social media, like 101.
I feel like, to me, I do it as like a double-edged sword. Like, I want to spread a message and like, so like repost this, talk about it, because I also don't know any other artists. I mean, I know besides Rage Against the Machine, I find few other artists really talking about it right now and then continuously nailing the hand. So I'm like, okay, so talk about it. And then equally, like, how do I, like, you know, like this, it's also my job to be like a band and an artist, and like, how do I like let people know also that I'm like speaking out about it and then making music about it? So it's like, how do I do both? You know, I mean, maybe the question,
I guess a good start. No, a good start. I think you can do it, and it's, you know, it's very, and there's a reason why other political bands like Rage Against the Machine don't have this issue and they don't have this problem. And I think, you know, a good start is that, like, you know, one of the videos you did, it's just like memes, like, it's just like memes, like grandma says release the files, and you get like your grandma or like some old person for the video and like some angry emoji, and it's just like this meme joke. And then also, you know, these other videos that are supposedly supposed to be serious, even if they are promotional videos, saying like, we see your name on the lists, and you know, pre-save my song. And even if those are real, you know, and there's real intentions behind that to stand up for something good, you like do one scroll on your account, and then next you see like a porn ad where you're making like some like BBC joke. Like, did you see that part of the video?
What else can you do with that big black thing down there?
Yeah.
Like,
Can I give it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you could explain.
Totally. I feel like I just make content when I like what I want to and when I want to, and I'm like sometimes I like make like a comedy skit, sometimes I make like sometimes it's promoting a song, sometimes it's a political statement, sometimes it's like, and every day since I'm creating content every day, it's like every day is like shooting a different shot, doing something different. And then okay, so that's an argument to why specifically why is the porn next to this. It's because it's like I'm creating content every day, so I'm like every day trying something different. And then whenever I look, I'm not like looking at, oh, how does this video go back to the video yesterday? It's like every day is a new day to like make new content. So it's like, so in answer to specifically why.
Okay, sure. But like, if you could put yourself in like, someone else's shoes, like imagine, you're viewing yourself from a third person, you're viewing some social media accounts. Would you not find that a little bit like odd and weird and hesitant to support what they're saying? Because it comes across as they're just farming every day. And it's like an Epstein Files song and video where it's like says it's standing up for a good message, but it's also heavy on the promo. Pre-save my song, make sure to play my song at your protests. And then like, the unserious nature of just like a porn ad, like right above it. Like, would you not be hesitant and feel like, this feels a little bit weird? Like, what's going on?
I think the porn ad or like above it is only if you're going through specifically my profile, and then if you're scrolling on your feed, like, which is where most people are consuming these things, they're not really like looking with a magnifying glass at the videos next to each other. Like, the only reason you saw it like that is because you went to my account and you're looking through the videos, and then you're looking at like videos a day apart, which most likely didn't even receive the same audience. But
well, if someone does do that, what would you think? Because I mean, there are people who go to your accounts.
The hardest part, I always have to constantly like ask myself, it's like if I try to please everyone, I won't be able to. So it's like, as long as, and back to like talking about promoting your music, I'm like, yes, it does promote music, but at least I'm saying something. I'm like, is it better to just not say something? Like, and I'm not saying that you're saying, or do you think it is better to not say something?
Actually, yes, because it's why I see and get comments of people that like say on my videos as well, that I'm sure you might have seen, of people saying like, we don't want you to be an ally or talk about this. And it's not because they're hateful. It's because that like what you're doing brings more harm than good, that it's just like making just a big joke, a mockery out of this. And, I think like that's pretty valid for people to believe. Like, that's what, I actually do think it's better than saying nothing if you're going to do it in this way that just makes it a joke.
Could I offer a counter argument to this if you're open to it?
You're good.
Okay. I know, and it's because of the spaces and the different spaces we're in. From your side, you're seeing all of this like it's like an echo chamber of like hate, which makes sense. But for me, I get thousands of people who come to my shows and are like crying to me at the merch booth saying that my music saved their life, and they're glad that they had someone like me who's speaking out and like writing songs about these things. And then like in my comments, like I know, see, the difference between you and I is your comments, because of the style of video you make, it makes sense that that's all you're going to see. So I get that, but then
no, I don't doubt that there's people. There's of course people. No, I of course know that. Of course, there's people on the other side who are going to.
So like the fight I have to always in my head is like, do I care about like the 500 comments you might get saying that I'm performative in that, or do I think about all of the people who are crying, the thousands of people per show, and however many people, like, but it's a lot, and it's like, dude, I've heard, and I'm sure you would like this would hit you too. There was a shooting in Denver at a LGBT club, and one of the survivors has a bunch of bullet, like you could just see it. They came out to one of my shows and they talked about this queer club that they form in Denver where they're like listening to TX2, where they're like, this music is like pushing us through, and I hope you never stop. And it's like, and that story, I remember when I heard that at a Denver show, brought me to tears. And I'm like, damn, there's like so many, there's thousands, if not like so many across the world, that we just toured Australia, and it's like there's like Australian accents from like queer people who are like, I just wish I had a band like you doing what you do now. And it's hard because you see, which is why I wanted to have this meeting and like learn and like bridge the gap, because my goal really is the message, which means I need to listen to everyone, which is why I wanted to talk with you. But I have to keep in mind that, you know, you might see this small community that really hates me and saying that, but then I have to think about the larger picture for me and all the other people that it's helping. But my goal now and the goal of this meeting is, look, I already know I'm doing this, but if I really want to affect the maximum amount of people, I have to understand all angles and then make my decision from there. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, I would so you talk about, the small amount of people who think this about you versus like the huge amount of thousands of support that you get. So I guess I would ask you, because this might be, I think we might disagree on this, is that do you think the majority of people who like and I don't mean this to sound harsh, but like it's because you make like rage bait videos to get people angry, or at least have in the before. But I still kind of do think you do it now. But do you think the majority of people who have like seen your videos and know of your existence are like that they dislike you or that they like you? Because I feel like the shorts that you're making just creates more people to dislike you, and like far more people put off as opposed to fans.
Yeah, I found that it's mostly love. I would see how you could see that from, like I said, the different sections we're at. But I mean, I've been playing like music festivals, like at Warped Tour. It was like probably a crowd of 10,000 people that knew all the words to the songs. And I was like, and that was like a big moment for me where I was like, bro, anything online is just like anyone can create accounts and on the comments and say whatever they want, but these people aren't actually like going outside, for the most part. Because if that was the case, I would have actually dealt with more hate in person. And the only two examples of hate in my entire life I've had in person were from a distance. And so I'm like, at the end of the day, man, whoa, sorry about these balloons again. But like,
It's a party.
It's like, I know it's a party over here. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I find it's mostly love. I could see how in the comment section it might not look like that, but it's like real life is a different thing. And like playing
No,
these
I
shows,
get how you would have that perception because like, I mean, people, I mean, if they're going to see you in real life, I mean, they're already paying to see you or to at least see, adjacent bands. So it makes sense why you wouldn't interact with it so much in real life. But I guess, do you really think that most people who know about your existence, like, are in support of you as opposed to not? Like, do you really think
I mean,
that?
I would say we have a million monthly listeners on Spotify. And like, like that I actually think the hate is a vocal minority. And I think it's because if you really think about it, like if you're gonna comment, most of the comments on most posts and most artists are hate because it's like hateful people who have to have their voice be heard. But then I look at the likes on the videos and it's always like way more. And I feel like if I like something, I don't actually really go and comment like this is so great. I just kind of like it. And then I still see comments of love. And I feel like the majority of like comments on the usual posts are love, and then once you get to the like mega viral videos, sometimes you get like waves of hate because of people all over the world. But then it's just like in the comment section, which is once again makes me feel like it's a vocal minority. Because I'm like, if we're playing to tens of thousands of people who love us and know all the words, and that's like tens of thousands, and then millions of people who listen to us on Spotify and on YouTube, that seems
No, I think
me.
you've definitely put your name out there with the videos that you do. I think by design, because they're made by design to get the most amount of attention, good or bad. I feel like mostly negative attention is made purposefully, and that's what I'm kind of like also thinking too, that I feel like it's might be difficult to be a fan of yours because I feel like you're closing yourself off to potential fans by the way that you make like these shorts and the way you go about it, which I just feel like is unfortunate. I don't understand why you would want that. So of course, you've gotten a lot of success from the attention that you've gotten, but are you like concerned that it's about long-term success? And I guess, well, you think the majority of people who've seen you like you, and I guess I just disagree about that. Like not in a, mean or offensive way.
Yeah, no, believe in it. By the way, you don't have to preface anything. I wanted to have a conversation with someone who disagreed on purpose.
I'm just not trying to be aggressive. It's just like I truly
not
just
aggressive.
do think that.
No, you're
Yeah.
not aggressive at all. And you are allowed to think whatever you want to think. I can't tell you what to think or what to believe. I can only offer a different perspective. And I mean, for me, I think long term, yeah, I mean, we're playing like all of the major European festivals this year, and then like next year we're playing all the major festivals. So we got some big tours next year too, and I'm like, I mean, it's at least gonna last another 2 years, you know. And I'm like, so I'm like, it probably will last 3, and like it'll probably. I imagine is, as long as I keep in my head, as long as I stand for what I believe in and I'm consistent with it, over time, it's like people are gonna hate it and they're gonna go through all the waves of things, and they're allowed to do that. But then eventually, it's like as long as I just keep growing, which every day I still grow, it'll get me to the point I want to. And once again, you're allowed to dislike me. You're allowed to believe anything. I'm just only offering my perspective.
Yeah, so I kind of got a little sidetracked, but I guess, as a conclusion to, like the Epstein Files video and the way you're going about promoting it and stuff, I guess, the overall point that I'm trying to say is that, when everything, as I was bringing up the BB No Money example, when everything you do has like an underlying ulterior motive of engagement farming, it does call into question like your credibility on everything, which is why people might feel hesitant even if to support you, even if they agree with the message. It's like why Tom Macdonald, if you know who that is widely considered a joke even by a lot of conservatives, because he uses everything and anything as a stepping stone for his own success. So I just think
I would say the counter argument between Tom Macdonald TX2 is that Tom Macdonald's not touring with like Black Veil Brides, Ice Nine Kills, playing all these festivals, doing these things. And I think there's a definite difference in like the actual fans and the message of TX2 and all of these things. And I could see how it is TX2 is considered left wing, but I don't even identify as liberal or left wing. I just identify as caring about human rights and just being like, okay.
You don't identify as left wing? What?
No, believe it or not,
what do you mean? Centrist?
No, I just don't even. I just don't trust. I mean, to me, I just don't trust politicians. No, you're okay. I just care about specific issues, and just like
okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. May I ask why?
Well, I mean, no. You're saying you just care about specific issues, but I guess I didn't expect you to say.
I just don't trust a party. Like I don't trust a political party, and I don't trust politicians. So I personally, obviously, will have to. I'm not saying I wouldn't vote. I have to vote, but I'm just saying like.
Okay, sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I like for me, all I really care about is just human rights. Like like what I talk about in my songs, I just want to do what I think is the right thing.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and to talk about Tom Macdonald, you're saying the differences between like I guess the success, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think it's not the success. It's the his songs would be, dude. Some of them are hilarious. But like you could argue the same thing about any artist having hilarious songs. But like I think there's like a "Devil Is the Democrat" song I saw one time where I was like,
Fire.
Dude, that's so crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's just heat. It's just good.
Yeah, right, something like that.
He has 1.5 million monthly listeners. Did you know that? He gets a crazy amount of success. It's fucking like he's a Facebook national icon.
Which one thing to be noted is he's not playing any festivals. He can't play any like industry festivals.
He didn't even get invited to the Super Bowl America First.
No, I know. I know, seriously. That's yeah.
No, but okay. I'm trying to remember your main point of like difference. I guess.
Okay, wait. Let's go back really quickly to the Epstein, so we don't get sidetracked.
Yeah.
Because my whole point here is that I do care about what I'm talking about, so I want to figure out from you a better way to do it. And for me, I'm thinking, how else do I promote? Like I'm like equally my music, because like part of what I don't want to just be a person who just speaks. I want to also be an artist. Right, so how do I equally promote the music and the message at the same time without the lines getting blurred between is this promotional? To me, my argument in the past would have been,
well, it's like every video.
Sorry, what about every video? Is it the fact that I'm doing it every video?
Yeah, you're like saying like, how do I make that divergence from something I actually care about and signal to people that this is actually authentic and not everything is just promotion and a stepping stone. And it's just like it is every video, and they're unserious. Do you like when you watch that video where it's like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, like that's unserious? I don't say that to be rude, but it's like
no, you're not.
Like,
you're not.
Like,
don't worry. I think you're allowed to believe that, and it makes sense that you see it as that. The problem was that video once again got 11 million views and 600,000 likes, and most of the comments were positive towards it and not taking it seriously. Now I can't force you to take things seriously.
Okay, so that was serious for you. You're saying that wasn't even like a joke, because I know you like plan things for your shows and like
I was, to me that was serious, and if you laugh at it or think it's funny, I respect that. That's okay. That's totally okay.
Well, you
But
don't have
I
to
found
respect that. I mean, that's pretty. I mean,
no, I
damn.
do. I
Okay.
do. I'm a firm believer of people should be able to believe whatever they want, and I can't force people to believe what you know. I like as long like, personally, my problem is with people who force their beliefs on others anyway. So I can't be the guy to force my beliefs on other people. You know?
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, if you're asking how to do things differently, I guess, that one video of like 5 ways to stand up to pedos, it's just like, just don't have like every video just being like I just like a shameless promotion of just like pre-save my song and make sure to share with all the people who are going to be playing this at protests as well. It comes across as like so inauthentic and fake, I guess.
So how would you, yeah, like how would you like if you had to basically create a piece of content that promoted a like in some way, shape, or form, Rage Against the Machine still is writing and releasing a song that is like and then talking about things, and they're still promoting their music videos and songs and shows, etc. How do you still do that and talk about what you believe in and make a difference with it? Because obviously the point of being a band that is talking about politics is to make sure the largest amount of people hear your message and at least have a conversation.
Do you know what the best way is? It's actually in history. It's been proven to be like the best way ever. It's so cool when you see what is it? What is that one? Is it a Bruce Springsteen song? Or even when you see conservatives playing Rage Against the Machine songs, it's so ironic and funny. Is that they're just listening to it and they're just playing it in the background of their edits, just because they think it's a cool song. Like they think like fuck you, don't do it, don't do what they tell me or whatever, and they play that in the context of like something completely different. It's fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. But secretly, like the Trojan horse is that you make like a great song, a lot of people are listening to it on either side of the fence, and it has like this it still has this message. It has this message. It's setting the seeds in these people's minds of how to get them to change their mind. I mean, throughout history, so many artists have done that, and stupid like conservatives have misinterpreted the message of it and don't even know like that is it. So I would say like something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
It's about
I
like
think
the
that's important.
content of it.
Like Nirvana had that one song where it's like he's the one who sings all of our songs, but he doesn't know what it means, and then like
Yeah.
everyone yeah, about shoot the gun. Right, totally makes sense. Counter argument for that, just for the hell of it. American Idiot, right on the nose, right directly. I don't want to be an American idiot.
Well,
Like
I personally aren't as big of a fan as like so on the nose of they were in that album, but I know it does work for a lot of people still. And I would say probably just like the sound triumphs it is the sound of that song. And it's just the quality of it. It comes down to the quality. Like if, you're putting out something with Billy Joe's voice, a riff, fast drums that just sounds good, I think it can triumph a lot of cringe. I mean, there's a lot of songs you probably listen to that the lyrics are a little bit rough, but if it sounds really good, you can overlook some things. So
totally. The lesson and the takeaway for me here is the specific on the noseness of a promotion could rub people the wrong way because if it needs to be more hidden. Is that what I'm gathering? Because that when you were talking about the Bruce Springsteen example.
yeah, it just puts off people, and it's like it starts to make people think too, which is horrible. And you definitely, I assume you wouldn't want this. Is like, does this guy actually believe in this, or is this just another marketing scheme? And of course you don't want that. But I do
Right.
think you personally believe in this. Like you don't fake dressing the way you want just for purely attention. There's a couple examples I want to bring up later, but I think you believe in the things you do, but you just go about them in such an off-putting way that rubs people the wrong way, and I think makes more of a joke out of it and uses it as for attention.
I totally see how you could see it that way, and I respect that belief.
Okay, cool. So it's, I guess, to put a lid on the at least Epstein thing or
Yeah.
whatever. I guess the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and we talked about like that porn ad and everything. I guess, do you plan on still like doing stuff like that?
I don't know. It depends on how this. I'm trying to piece in as much information as I can from this, and I obviously will. I mean, it's like I have to keep creating content and doing my job But, you know, like I just want it. I would, in my head, you can get the best of both worlds. You can make videos that do the maximum amount of views while also promoting a message you believe in. And also doing it. And then the third angle is doing it in a way that, you know, you're never going to make everyone happy. Some people are always going to call you performative no matter what you do, but in a way that at least the maximum amount of people understand that what you believe in, what you're saying, which is what the piece of information I'm trying to gather from all of this.
Okay. Here, I wanted to quickly talk about, which is a completely different other topic, is the get scared thing that I think I talked about like in the first video, like over a year ago. So
love it.
Let's quickly talk about that. So, you know, you made a song, I forgot the exact name, but the pre-chorus of the song was like the exact melody of Sarcasm by Get Scared for the melody, their most popular song.
He raised his voice at her and she screamed, it's not by choice, you don't love me. Don't mind us, we're just spilling our guts. If this is love, I don't want to be loved.
And, you know, I totally get and understand, I think I even said this in the video, if you write something and it ends up sounding similar to another song, I mean, there's countless examples of that in the past that's been done so many times before, and, you know, lawsuits happen or whatnot, or just people ignore it. And if it wasn't on purpose while writing it, like, who cares? But what really rubbed me the wrong way, and, like, you know, I think why that video, like, resonated with people, like, hey, this is pretty weird, was that you were then advertising your song by making videos with the caption being like, do you like Get Scared, the band? Well, you're gonna love this song. And then the clip is literally you playing the exact melody of their most famous song, Sarcasm, for the short. Yeah. And it's like, that's just, you know, don't mean to be rude, but that just feels like kind of shameless. It's like, even if you unintentionally write a song with a melody similar to someone else's, you would think you would have like the, I don't know, just, you know, you wouldn't promote it by just being like, hey, do you like if you like this song, you're going to love my song, which is like, sounds exactly the same at this point.
He raised his voice at her and she screamed, it's not by choice, you don't love me.
So totally. I guess, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I could see how you could see things like that. So Nick from Get Scared's a good friend of mine, and I ran all of this by him, and he's cool with it. He's like, he brought us on. I'm not sure if you saw, but he brought us on stage for the reunion show to sing Sarcasm.
Yeah, I saw that on your Twitter.
Right. So it's like, if he doesn't mind, what's the, but, you know, it's like, and then I'm like thinking like, okay, yeah, I wrote it, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's, you know, like life or art imitates life. You know, like whenever you're writing a song, every single thing in your head is based off things you've heard before. So sometimes things accidentally sound like things. Other times you sample. Other times, you know, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Nick was cool with it. I was like, okay, sounds like Get Scared. Why not say, if you like Get Scared? Because if you like Get Scared, you'll probably like it. And then there's this interesting thing that happened where all these people started commenting, you're stealing the song. But then I'm like, but then Nick's cool with it. I've had a conversation. Like, he even thinks it's dumb.
Well, so with the Nick thing, it's like the reason why I kind of don't feel like that matters, at least to me personally, is because, sure, you know, if you made a song that is literally beat by beat the same exact thing of Welcome to the Black Parade, and Gerard Way came out and said, you know, I actually don't have an issue with, you know, that TX2 did this, and especially if you're promoting it by being like, do you like MCR? Well, you're gonna love this song, which is literally like beat for beat, like the exact same thing. Even if it was pushed to that exact extreme, I still would find it weird and it would rub me the wrong way, even if Gerard Way was fine with it.
Well, then that's one of those things where it's like, well, I can't control how you feel about it.
No, well, it's about, sorry, I guess what I'm trying to communicate is that it's not, I don't dictate my opinion based off of if this artist agrees with it or not. I dictate my opinion based off of, you know, the respect I'm going to have for this person. And I just kind of do lose respect when they are promoting their song this way after they knew that they wrote a song with the exact melody of this other one. And they're like, you're promoting it. Like, the main thing is the promotion, because there's been songs I've heard before is that sounds exactly similar, you know, similar melodies, like full-on interpolations. And it's not as big of a deal as opposed to if they would have made like a YouTube short being like, do you like this other song? Well, you're going to love this one, which has the exact same melody.
Well, help me figure out the problem with if the so you're not we can agree it's not stealing. Stealing would be taking something without permission, right? So like or like and then
Well,
right.
the legal thing would be like interpolating.
Okay, right. But it's not that's different than stealing, especially with permission, right? Do you agree?
Then stealing?
Okay, so TX2 steals music, right?
I mean, if you're
And
talking
then
about like literally the legal definition of stealing, like I
right,
guess it's
not
not
right.
technically
It's not.
stealing. Like
No, it's not.
colloquially,
That's okay.
colloquially, you could use that word just because people understand the idea that you're trying to get across with saying that word. But it technically it's an interpolation.
Right. Okay. So glad. So we checked that off, and then from there, it's like the problem is saying if you like it, you might like this. What's the? What? Help me. I'm actually really struggling to find the problem with saying if you like this, then you might like this, even though it's not stealing. So we agree it's not like you stole and then you're saying that.
So to put it in perspective, if I'm like writing a song and
Yeah.
I end up writing a song that's exactly similar to, Dead by MCR. And then, obviously I don't want to do that. I would feel kind of shameless after if I finish the song and then I listen back to it and I'm like, oh, fuck, like I completely ripped off MCR here. So inside like me, I would feel like, damn, that's kind of okay. That's kind of fucked up. Like I can't release this. Or if I do even end up releasing it, I would feel enough shame to not even promote it by being like, hey, do you like this song? Well, I ripped it off in this song and you're probably going to like this as well. Like, do you get that on how that could, make someone like lose respect for you and be like, damn, that's kind of weird.
In that exact example, because you're saying you stole like the exact song, yes, but then once again,
Well,
there's
even
no
a relevant part. If it, okay, sorry, steal.
exactly
Okay,
right, yeah, right. No. Do you know what I'm saying?
interpolating
Like
the melody, but you know the idea that I'm trying to say.
one section, and then even the chords are different at that section. So then like the melody is.
Well, it's about the melody.
very-
It's like the do
Right.
do 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 do. Like that's exactly the same.
Yeah. And then that's it. But and then you got permission as well. So there's no stealing. So it's just a similar melody. And then you're saying that
Yeah, I guess
the
we
whole
just
song-
disagree. I guess we just disagree here too
Disagree.
because
Fair, that's
when
fair.
we talk about
we can't disagree.
yeah, when we talk about permissions too, Youngblood did this thing where he called up Robert Smith from The Cure, and he was just in the studio, couldn't come up with any ideas, and he was like, fuck it, let's just put on like some Cure and, have fun, let loose. He plays on a Cure song, and he's like, damn, I really like that drum beat. I really like the way the drums sound. So he calls up Robert Smith and says, can I like use the exact drums for this song, for my song? And then Robert Smith was just like, sure, he's not bothered by it. So Youngblood goes on and does that. And, even though Robert Smith is fine with that, I have like I guess I just find that pretty lame and I lose respect as an artist if someone else does that. Cause it's like, really? I mean, you literally are just, you can't come up with your own ideas for the day so that you just call up someone else and, get the drum beat. So even though you had permission, I still lose respect if someone does that, I guess, to explain my point of view about permissions.
Totally. And you can have a point of view once again that we can disagree with, and that's of course okay. But I mean, to me, I'm okay with that. I mean, Robert Smith gave permission, and I know this happened with Youngblood. I know this happens with Nick. Nick from Get Scared did something similar. It's like everyone, actually every band I've ever talked to, this is like part of the music process. But I guess from a fan perspective, a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't, a lot of other people, yeah, which is okay. But this is just like a
bench players talking like they're starters. Am I right? No, I'm sorry.
starting like this. No, man. You're not. That's not what I'm saying. But do you see what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, if every musician I know has done something similar, and then you just listing like it's an example. I mean, it's like a common process in the writing. Led Zeppelin, the Beatles,
not promoting it that way. That's the main issue, as I was explaining earlier. It's literally the promotion.
It's the promotion. But the writing isn't the problem, or the song isn't the problem. It's the promotion.
No, that's not as big of a deal. As I said, there's been times with that before where it's like, it's still like whatever for me. Not really big on it.
Right.
But if then it's like it reaches a new level. If they're like, hey, do you like this song? If like Youngblood was making YouTube shorts being like, hey, do you like this song by The Cure? Well, guess what? mine sounds just like it because I took the drum beat. That's all. We're kind of going in circles
totally.
there.
What I'm trying to understand is like why you're upset for The Cure, or why you're upset for Get Scared if they're not upset. It's like
Yeah,
why
you're viewing it as like the, two people consent. I'm coming in and say, I don't consent. I know the way you're viewing it, but as I was saying, my opinion isn't dictated on someone else's opinion on it. So I personally, yeah.
Yeah, it's your opinion. There's no changing it.
I personally
okay.
like lose respect because I don't want to live in a music climate, even if, Robert Smith is fine with it. I don't want to live in like a music climate where that's like, cool and respected. I just don't personally respect it.
I will say that is the music climate we have been living in for the last 50 to 60 years. I mean, or for as long as I know, all of.
No, I get what you're saying about songwriting. It's the promotion, but we're going in circles. We're going
promotion. Got it right. The promotion is the problem.
All right, so we talked about that, the get scared stuff, and I think I'm looking for any other stuff, and there might be a couple other things, but is there anything like you wanted to say to me if you've like seen the videos or seen me talking about you, or overall like say something to use it just like a a platform or like a if you're going to talk about things, is there anything you want to talk about right now?
I came to this because I actually wanted to talk with you, and I just was like, man, I feel like there's we got something in common. I feel like
what do we have in common?
I feel like our music taste. I feel like we like a lot of the same bands. I feel like there's a lot of there. We both wear eyeliner. We both look similar. We're both
gay.
I don't know. Yeah, we're both musicians. It's as well, There's a lot in common, right? Like all of those albums behind you are like some of my favorite albums. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
what's your favorite one? What's your favorite one?
I don't know.
Do you know Sweet Trip? Do you know Sweet Trip? I'm using this opportunity to plug Sweet Trip. You gotta listen to Sweet Trip.
I'll check out Sweet Trip. Who's Sweet Trip?
They're insane. They're an indie electronica group. They're just mind blowing.
I would say Three Cheers is personally my favorite, by the way, in the back of there. But that's just because that's one of my favorite albums of all time. But I'll check out Sweet Trip.
True, that's real. But so that's what we have in common. Okay, good to know. Gay, plays music, blonde,
you know what I'm saying?
eyeliner.
It's an energy. It's like an energy. I saw in the interview. I was like, I kind of think if you and I had a conversation, you wouldn't be so mad. But and then also we also have the same beliefs. It sounds like I believe same political beliefs. But it honestly shouldn't be political. Like I said, it goes back to like just our beliefs in human rights. It sounds like we have that in common, which is why I was like, okay, if we have this in common, my whole fucking goal is to like, spread the message of my movement and at least do something with my platform. I have a platform. I want to do something with it. How do I at least make sure the people who agree with me, or at least this subsection that you live in agrees with me? So I wanted to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, and I think, I have a good thing to maybe talk about that to end it off kind of, because, on paper, another thing that we agree with, self-expression, dressing however you want, expressing yourself however you want, no matter anyone else's opinion. But something I've also mentioned in these videos is these things you would upload where you would like go out in public dressed in like lingerie or a dress specifically just to like act crazy and bother people, like just being a public nuisance for the video for engagement farming reasons. And like now, of course, I think that's awesome. I think if you want to wear that, that's awesome. That's cool. I couldn't be more in support of that. I think that's epic. But what isn't is like the inauthenticity of being like, all right, guys, I got today's video. Okay, we're on the daily grind. I'm gonna put on lingerie and act obnoxious in public to like just annoy people. And the title will be like "Emo has a breakdown in public." Like that's gonna be the big promotion to get so many views. Like that just seems that rubs me really weird.
Take off my lingerie, red light from cameras glow. Spend my legs for the work day. Do what it takes for blow. My father wouldn't want this. We'll make sure that he knows.
Totally understand. Two arguments. And the first is Hollywood Boulevard is where that happened, that video that you're referring to. And that place is madness. Every single day, everyone is acting and doing things on the street, and just specifically LA. This is like probably the only city after touring the US, the only city that I've known where it's like no one gives a shit what happened. That dude, I promise that didn't bother a single person. In LA every day so much shit is happening that doesn't bother, but I would understand how if you like think about any other city or town, the culture is different. LA Hollywood Boulevard is specifically crazy like that.
Yeah, you're
Oh, it's
uploading on
gay.
YouTube too, and it's like, and that gives other people's perceptions when they see it on their feed. Sorry,
Right.
I'll let you continue though. I'll let you continue.
No, you're good. You're good. I get it. You didn't know that was on Hollywood Boulevard. That is something to know. The second thing is that video specifically, I wish I didn't make it. I think there's like times I like make videos in hindsight where I'm like, I'm human. I that specific video, I was like, I don't know why. We were like trying to be like quirky, and I'm never trying. I know that video did not offend anyone in public, so I'm like, obviously the cost of that wasn't the problem, but it didn't get across the message of the song. It did. It was just fucking weird, quite frankly. And I'm like, ooh, that's a video I wish I didn't make, and that occasionally happens.
That's awesome. That's super cool. That's like exactly what I would want for and hope for, is like you to say shit like that, because I've done so much cringe, stupid
Definitely.
things that I like couldn't regret more in the past, that like I would be horrified if like someone would have their perception of me based off of stupid shit that I previous done. So I totally get that. It's really all about just being like, that response right there is just being like that was just fucking stupid, and I get how that could like rub people the wrong way, and I'm not doing that shit anymore, and that's like perfect.
Totally.
That's actually perfect.
Yeah. I'm constantly trying to evolve, and I think over the next however long, you'll see whatever TX2 becomes is not what it is today, and I hope it isn't, because if I stay stagnant, that's to fail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, do you want to be like, are you saying like you want to be more taken seriously as an artist?
I mean, I don't know, everything. I think I want to just keep changing. I don't want to ever be the only thing I won't change is my beliefs and what I stand for. But like, I want the music, I want my image, I want the content, I want everything to always constantly be changing. And I have to have, if I really want to get to this goal I've talked about, I have to always have an open mind and be ready for change, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think you had a good last response and reply, and like that's like totally something that I think is cool to that last thing. I just hope more, maybe your mind changes about other things, but it's all good. That's all about disagreements, and it's not gonna affect me in any way, and that's all good. But yeah, I mean, that might be mainly it. I think that I communicated like mainly all the ideas I wanted. That's so awesome. I love the
Damn it.
fireworks.
I know, I hate that shit. It keeps doing the fireworks. I have one last thing I wanted to add.
Yeah.
My only request is, if you post this, is it possible that you post the whole thing so that
Yes,
people can
we
see
promise.
the entire conversation? Because like my
Not gonna
only
clip
fear.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That would be my only fear. But other than that, if you can make that promise, I think it's great that we had this conversation. Also, and I know what you stand for is what you believe in, and equally the thing that also I wanted to have a conversation with you about is, since we agree on the same things, and I personally like calling people out, I'm a firm believer of like, I want to use my platform to also talk shit, but not like just talk shit, but about like important things, and I know that's what you're doing equally.
Yeah, it's like
So,
it's like what you do with conservatives. It's like I kind of view what you're doing as like making a joke out of shit, like real shit, making a mockery
Sometimes
out
I
of
do.
shit that makes things like bad. So that's like the reason why I talk about you, is kind of like the same motivation and reason why you talk about these like stupid conservatives saying like shit, like actually women should just be in a dress. Actually women should be in a sundress.
Right.
It's just I think you're doing a damage like with the videos you make. But we talked about that.
totally.
But I do appreciate you coming on. I do that. It's all about just having a normal, chill conversation, not aggressive or like mean or anything. I think this was,
Yeah.
this is exactly what I would like want or think of on anyone who I talk to, because I don't want the demonization to happen, except for people like Tom Macdonald. That guy fucking sucks. But
Totally. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's people putting hateful messages out. I think if my crime is being cringe, fuck it. But like, I do think the hateful message is worse.
Well, okay, it's okay. Well, I can't agree with that because I think it's a little more than cringe. But regardless,
Sure.
I appreciate you coming here. Any last things you could say it, but that's kind of gonna do it.
No, dude. Thanks for taking time.
All right, there we go. Okay, I can stop recording.